Yo, 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 what's good, what's good, what's good? You are now watching Juke Boy Sports Show. I am your host, Kyng Ralph, here with another solo episode. Hope everybody's doing good out there in TV land. It's still Raiders, even though Geno Smith pissed me off. Offensive line is trash. I said we would be competitive. I was a little overzealous record I predicted, but hey, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. That's what happens when you're a Raider fan. But WNBA is here. Semifinals. Lynx move on. Playing the Mercury. Gotta update this real quick. Mercury were getting shellacked at one point earlier in the game. They started to come back. Went to overtime. Were able to get a victory. Keys to the victory. Ultimately, it came down to Minnesota's bench just didn't really get much. They had 3 more points than I did as a whole, and I'm in Vegas, so you know how that went. So, but Alyssa Thomas, 19, 13, and 8. There was like a little part of the game where like a switch flipped, and offensively she became a lot more aggressive when it came to getting her shot. Now she didn't shoot the greatest from the field, but I like seeing double-digit free throw attempts because it shows that you are aggressive when you had the ball in your hand, putting pressure on the rim. So, and then Satu Sabali, I come to realize she's gonna get him up. At that point, I was just like, sis, can you go to the rim or come up off it, swing it, and 5 of 11 from 3, 24 points, 9 rebounds, as they lead a comeback and get the victory. Minnesota was playing well early. The starters played well. I think it had all 5 starters were in double digits. 4 of them had at least like anywhere from 15 to 20, if not more than that. And they just didn't get any help from the bench. The 3 main contributors just got 3 points. It came from just one of them. So it just wasn't a really good night. I anticipate them coming back and fixing the problems. I got the Lynx in 4 as they're only playing 5 games. Lynx 3. I think this will be the only game that they lose. And yeah, Lynx in 4. But it was a good game though. Oh, boy, Santos Sabali is, if I'm saying her name correctly, she was chunking them up. You know, I was like, hey, I would be a little frustrated. Come up off it, swing it, pass it, however you want to say it. Give it to the person in the corner. Aces and the Fever are playing right now. I believe. Oh, look, let's look. Yes. I believe it's the 3rd quarter, right before I walked over here. 70-52, end of the 3rd quarter. Aces were down 0-1, losing game 1. Really, I just think Indiana came out with an intensity, and I think the Aces just thought because they don't have Caitlin Clark, who most people say is their best player, playing. She's not even healthy this playoff, so she's not playing at all. I think they came into it with like a bit of a lackadaisical approach. It was just like thought that they would just run over them, and that's not what happened. Kelsey Mitchell came out there balling, lost and punched them in the mouth, and they just weren't able to respond. But I think that this game, coming into it, just straight up like Asia got her 21 off 8 of 14 on 4 free throws, and a presence on defensive end, 4 steals, 2 blocks. And then Nalissa Smith and Jackie Young really holding it down from a scoring standpoint. But I just feel like everyone is playing their role and playing good. Um, Joel Lloyd doing what he does, getting 7 4, getting a lot of free throws, getting to staying aggressive when you got your opportunities. Jackie Young scoring from a scoring standpoint, I just feel like they're just way more engaged in the game. I feel like defensively they're playing their game. They're at home. So this was a game I anticipated them winning. I had the Aces. I believe I had the Aces in 5. I can see them doing it in 4, but that first game back in Indiana, and Indiana's a basketball state, I think it's going to be tough. Although I do think the Aces are a team, but when you got that momentum, you got the crowd behind you. A lot of things can go your way. Refs make a couple calls that are in your favor. The next thing you know, you're up by 10. And so I think anything can happen, but I do got the Aces winning tonight, evening it up as they go back to Indiana. And I do believe the Aces will be able to pull it together and get out of here with a dub. And so Ravens once again come up short in a close one. Wasn't really that close, but it was close at one point. And then it didn't. In that moment, Derrick Henry fumbles again. They were 24. He fumbles on the 40-yard line as the Ravens are driving to try to take the lead. And he fumbles again. And essentially, in the end, I think in 3 games, they've scored about like 112 points between the 3 games on offense. And the defense, just the 2 major games that they played, 41 against the Buffalo Bills and 38 against the Detroit Lions. And it's like they pretty much have better defense than the roster that they had when they had the number 1 defense. The main difference is Mike McDonald is now the head coach of the Seahawks, and Zach Orr is the defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. And just, I never want to see your brother lose his job, but we got to have that conversation, yo. That at some point we got to have the conversation. If you're not getting it done, you have Malachi Starks, Nate Wiggins, who are back-to-back first-round picks. You got Kyle Hamilton, you got Matabuke, you got Kyle Van Noy, you got Jair Alexander, you got Marlon Humphreys, you got Roquan Smith. You have pieces. And now Matabuke, Jair Alexander, and Kyle Van Noy didn't play in this game. So I did go into it thinking that Detroit would be able to put up some points. So in the end, for just particular this victory or this loss, I'm going to go with Derrick Henry. In 325 carries, he had 3 fumbles last year. He's gotten 3 fumbles in 41 carries this year. And as great as a running back as he is, a lot of people put him in the top 5. I've seen people put him in the top 10. I can see him eventually finishing his career right outside that top 5. But he's too good and too great to have this amount of fumbles, and especially in clutch moments, where as a great in any sport, you kind of cut your teeth on what do you do in those big moments. And so far this year, those memes though, the video of him when he threw his helmet down on the sideline had me cracking up. He just as big as a dude that he is, I could just see him just being like, "Fuck!" Like, I fumbled again when we really needed it. And it's low key. Like anything in this moment, if they score, they just end up going up. Anything can happen, so he didn't necessarily lose them the game. Not the part. I think the defense being injured and not being able to get stops Detroit calls off the dogs. It could have got really bad. Derrick Henry in that moment fumbling the football when they're driving is a very key contributor. The Buffalo game, if he doesn't fumble, they win. So 2 games out of the 3 games is your fault. I would say he's the second, if not the third, best player on the team. So you just got to play better. And he called it out. He acknowledged it. So now where do we go from here? So Patrick Beverley, Trae Young have been going back and forth. It's a lot of talking in sports media. Whose side are you on? The thing that I hate when it comes to like sports in general, one thing I kind of notice it a little bit more when it comes to basketball is if you're not of the talent that I was, I have no room to criticize you. And I don't like that because nobody's above reproach. And I feel like Trae Young, although he is a really good offensive talent, defensively, it's an effort that he doesn't give. That we gotta have that conversation. Like we can't not have it because I wasn't an all-star and he is. So only all-stars can criticize him. Like I do think that there's a difference between like if a person has a sports podcast like I have or like Patrick Beverley, my job is to tell what I see. If what I see is not where I think it should be, that's my opinion. But like at the end of the day, opinions are like assholes. Everybody got them. So like I don't understand why when it comes to sports specifically, it's like you can't give your opinion or you need to shut the hell up if you didn't do it at the level that the person is doing it that you're criticizing. And I think that that's just stupid because like there really wouldn't be that many outlets if it wasn't for the people that did not play it. You know what I mean? It's stupid to me. It irritates the hell out of me. But for me, I'm gonna go with Patrick Beverley. I think that in the end, Trae Young, you gotta like, if you don't like Steph. I've always said at one point was a complete liability on defense. I think now there's an effort, and also he's just gotten much stronger to where there's an ability to be able to cause some resistance on the defensive end. I'm not saying you need to go out there and be first team defensive player, but at least not be a liability. Make it to where that once they swing it, they need to swing it again because you're there in your man's face, or the extra pass and the extra seconds. And like there's that slight hesitation will make the world of a difference on the defensive end. And that's just where I'm like, Trae Young, yeah, that's cool. You're going on for 30 and 10 every night. But if you give up 35, like that's what that net rate that analytics love. But the eye test will tell you he doesn't play defense. So obviously everything he's doing on the offensive end is great, but it's not contributing to winning because your best player is a complete liability on defense. And then so the Texans have released C.J. Gardner-Johnson today. Was he scapegoated? I think that I would say that two things are true. I think that he was scapegoated because it was more than just him that's not playing well. Like, if you go look up C.J. Stroud as a quarterback, like his stats compared to his peers, I mean, he could definitely play some better football. But I do think in the end, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, just like how we mentioned with Derrick Henry, like I think Derrick Henry is going to benefit from. He just had a crazy year last year. So starting off the next year with some fumbles, we can figure that out. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson pretty much had a great year last year, won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, and was traded. So he goes to a new team where you don't have that benefit of the doubt to be able to figure it out, especially when you're having issues in the locker room. And then it doesn't seem like you're grasping the defense because we have 3 big plays in 3 consecutive weeks. And so I think Derrick Henry's going to get the benefit of the doubt because of what he did his first year with the Ravens. Going to a new team, you kind of got to hit the ground running, and or at least don't be a distraction. Like teams will take the headache if you're producing at a high level on the field, but if you're also giving up big plays, big gashes, and it's your fault, your missed assignment, like you really don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to making that argument. I'm surprised because I just feel like he still has a lot of juice in the tank. But I am curious to see where he goes. But I do think he was scapegoated because there's so many other things that are bad on that team. Like the offense just doesn't look as fluid, it doesn't look as good. CJ looks like he's struggling with the new OC. So I'm just like, it was more than just him. But at least you get someone out of the locker room who, in a way, you can say is a little too passionate, too competitive, to where it becomes an unorganized chaos in the locker room if you continue to keep letting him do the things that he's doing. And so, to finish up the show, we got the fast break, and Angel Reese. I don't know why. Whenever I do these clips, they always try to make it seem like I'm saying Andrew Reese. Angel Reese. I don't understand how you get Andrew out of that. But she was suspended, and I'm watching some clips earlier, and they're talking about like all players that played for the Chicago Sky, and you kind of forget like the talent that they've had. Because at one point they had Sylvia Fowles, they had Courtney Vandersloot, Ariel Atkins, they've had Elena Della, Candace Parker, Morgan Besh, Alex Wilson, Jessica Carter, like Gabby Williams played for them at one point as well and was drafted by them, and then the coach suspended her because she wanted to play for France. Like, there are a lot of talent that comes through there that if the Sky doesn't get it together, they're going to lose out and be a really bad basketball team for a long period of time. And I hate to see it because in the end, I'm a Chicago fan. Like I'll say the Aces and the Raiders are the only 2 teams I like that are outside of Chicago. In the team that plays in Chicago. But they're going to lose out on 2 cornerstone franchise pieces with Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese. They don't figure it out and get it together. I don't blame Angel Reese for what she said. I do understand it because in the end, and I don't even necessarily want to make it about a woman thing. I think athletes are just very sensitive when it comes to certain things. And if I come out and say, I don't like the direction they're going, there's no talent on this team, the talent on the team is going to feel like take it in a negative way. And so I don't blame them for feeling the way that they felt. Dang, I just went through this whole thing realizing my microphone is coming out of. That's wild, Ralph. Get together, Ralph. Yeah, I went through this whole show thinking that my microphone was coming from my microphone, and the audio has been coming from the computer all the time. All right, so let's swap over. Mic check. We're good, and let's get back to it. Yeah, they need to fix some issues, and if they don't, they're going to lose out on 2 cornerstone pieces and be a very trash organization for a long time to come. Hate to say it, but they had Sylvia Fowles, who was a Hall of Famer. They had Elena Deladon, who was at her peak the best player in the league. Candace Parker was pretty much the face of the organization, but really only stayed for years, 1 or 2 years, and then eventually came to Las Vegas. And so now that you have Andrew and Leela, like you got to do right by them and build around them in order to be able to really make a mark for a long time to come, because you have pretty much the Twin Towers and they can develop together. Like why like squander the opportunity? You know what I mean? And so I seen this cool conversation, good conversation earlier today. I definitely was like, I've thought about that. And do coaches benefit too much from success of the players that they coach? And I think about this in like for example, like Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels got a lot of opportunities just for the sake of one, he coached Tom Brady, two, the offense that he ran with the Patriots and the Dynasty. He was there for a lot of the Dynasty years. So he's going to get more opportunities, even though he's failing, just simply from the fact that he was the Patriots offensive coordinator and he coached Tom Brady. Then you got people like LeBron, like Ty Lue. Ty Lue got opportunities because he was someone that was willing to call out LeBron. So when they went from Platt and they let him go, they needed someone that could hold LeBron accountable. They bring in Ty Lue. And so I think that relationships that coaches have with players sometimes can give them a little bit too much cachet, I guess you could say, where sometimes it's just the talent that you had. Like a lot of people feel like Steve Kerr, when they got Kevin Durant, anybody could have coached that team, they would have won. A lot of people feel like that. Many people feel like Coach Bill Belichick didn't really do much. It was Tom Brady. I do think in some situations you do have to think about like there's two sides to a coin and how they affect each other. And so there are some situations where I think that the coach plays an equal part in this, because the one part of the conversation that you can't ignore or can't leave out is talking about player development. Like, was the coach the one that helped them develop, or did they just put the work in order to develop themselves and then become who they were? It's one of them things where, does Tom Brady become Tom Brady anywhere, or is he Tom Brady because he played for Bill Belichick? We're never going to get that answer. We're going to speculate that for forever. And so it's out more and more teams are coming out. Shador turned down. The Ravens came out last week. This week it's the Eagles. And people are talking whether or not he's wrong for it. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think that when we're talking about a lot of things, knowing what we know now, we're at that time. I think there were conversations that were being had. We all assume, as much as we sit here, we can say all this stuff about, oh, he doesn't have the best arm, or he's not the most athletic, or he played in this conference. And going into the draft, go through any person that does media, sports media, there weren't people that did not have him as the number 2 quarterback in the draft. We could sit here and have this revised way memory of history that we're doing right now, but Jackson Dart was not above Shador Sanders until the day of the draft. That shit came out of nowhere. Dylan Gabriel was on nobody's list higher than Shador Sanders. So there's certain players and where have that kind of weight behind the name that they can say where they want to go. And so I don't blame them. Why would I go to the Baltimore Ravens where it's going to have to take a wild injury or crazy shit to happen for me to get on the field, because Lamar Jackson ain't coming off that field? Jalen Hurts, I could see a situation where it happens, but I would never pick that situation, because ultimately the same way Shador could get on the field is the same thing that how Jalen Hurts got on the field. Carson Wentz was balling, was a MVP front runner, tore up his knee, never was the same. Jalen Hurts gets drafted, And Carson Wentz plays like trash. Jalen Hurts gets to start and never looks back. 2 Super Bowl appearances later, and here we are. So, yeah, Shador has an opportunity to get in because anything can happen. But if I can pick my situation, why would I go to Philly or Baltimore where I can compete in Cleveland, New York, New Orleans? Shit, he has a better chance of competing in Minnesota. So I just feel like there are certain places that if I was him, I would have tried to see if I can get there. I don't think that he sits there regretting anything. Because ultimately, I feel like a lot of things that happened were things that he couldn't control. I can't control if someone doesn't like me because of my dad, the way I carry myself. I'm not going to stop being me at the end of the day. And so, last one, Russell Wilson was officially pulled and benched. Jackson Dart will start game 4. Was the leash too short? No, because this is about the game that I feel like if your team is not going somewhere and you have a young quarterback who you see something in, this is about that time. Week 4 to 6 is where I think that we'll see Dylan Gabriel start a game or should an opportunity to start a game. I think that this is that time where you see what you got going forward so you can evaluate it before next year's draft. And so I wish he would have got like one more game, but ultimately 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions in 3 games, only completing barely 60% of his passes, a little less than 800 yards a game, which puts him at like mid 200s, low 200s. Like, come on now. We got to see the young dude. Once I saw the package where he was on the field and they pulled Russell Wilson off the field, I was like, oh, yeah, it's a wrap. They eventually put Russ back on, but I'm like, yeah, nah, Jackson Dart is definitely finna start soon, and it's not looking good. They're not finna let Russ cook. Maybe he can prep the food, but not finna let Russ cook. So ultimately, I don't think the leash was too short. I do think that he was a bridge quarterback anyway. So regardless of who was there, they were going to have replacement and see what happens. But thank you all for watching. I do got to get up out of here. But before I do, if you're looking for a clean, jitterless, no crash energy drink, get on your phone, iPads, computers, look for W.com, D-U-B-B-Y, W.com. Use promo code JUKE, J-U-K. For 20% off, we're going to get you. And so make sure you hit that subscribe, follow, like, share, all that good stuff. If you're here on Facebook, Juke Network, JUK Network, follow them. Subscribe at Juke Network on YouTube as well, JUK Network. Follow us on Instagram, JUK Sports Show, Juke Sports Show. And you can follow me at KYNG RALPH. I'm on TikTok, Twitch, Threads, Instagram, add an underscore for extra Twitter. Two Goobs podcast in the works. I'm planning the next episode. Just booked studio time. About to drop a new cannabis review, and I started doing album reviews as well. Gonna drop my first one there. I'm in the process of editing a couple of things, but I do got to get up out of here. Got to go finish cooking. I'm hungry. Y'all have a good day. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Shout out to Asia on that MVP too. Whole time she the GOAT.